Here we are, and I welcome all of you to today's meeting, and I welcome Christian in particular. We always look forward to your presentations. Today is a new one on notes, I believe, or maybe you have presented on that subject before, but in any event, I think notes is something that accompany us all day, all night maybe, and I think there are so many new features that we should spend at least 75 minutes on it today. So I'm looking forward to an exciting presentation. I'm also looking forward to great questions, and Sheeta will moderate them very well. So with that, I look forward to this great meeting today, and I'm asking Mike Wozniak, to make a few announcements. Thank you.
Unmute myself. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Thank you. And first off, just a reminder that our class season is underway now, and I am in the hot seat this Saturday talking about pages. And my plan is to kind of try and present a zero to hero approach and start with very straightforward adoption of templates through creating personal templates, and then jump into formatting from simple to more kind of design conscious work. So I really hope something for everybody, and I really hope if you do come along, when you tip out of the far end of the class, your pages documents will look somewhat more exotic and exciting and interesting than they did before we started. That's Saturday, and hope you'll join us then. And yeah, this is the sort of stuff that I'll be talking about. I've forgotten that's 10 a.m. in Florida, isn't it? I have 3 p.m. permanently stuck in my consciousness because of the UK. But next week's meeting, more notes. Anne is with us again, and continuing on the theme of notes, she's going to be talking about an app that I know nothing about called UpNote, which she prefers, and look forward very much to seeing that and seeing how it compares with the stuff that we know and love. And with that, I'd like to just stop my share and pass the meeting to Sheeta so that she can talk about questions and also introduce Christian. Thanks very much, Sheeta.
And thank you.
The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We will get to them at a timely manner. I do ask that you please mute your microphones. And Diane, for some reason, I cannot mute your microphone. So if you could please mute your microphone on your end, I'd greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christian. And Christian, welcome and thank you. We look forward to this, as always. All yours.
All right, well, great. That was fast. Here we go. So today we're talking about notes in iOS 18, and I'm going to be demonstrating using my iPhone 16 Pro. So there may be a thing or two that looks a little bit different because than your phone, because it being a 16 Pro, I can do Apple Intelligence, and if you have something older than a 15 Pro, you can't. So there may be some icons that look a little different. But that's okay. Most of the stuff we do today is going to work for anybody who can use iOS 18. All right. So I started this talk out here with a title that man, it does a lot, because man, it does do a lot. And I was surprised at how much stuff there was to do. And that little notes icon going across the way was just to show off that I know how to do it. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Notes app. So the way I'm going to do this is the way we always do it. I'm going to demonstrate things, or at least sort of have canned demonstrations in a slide, and then I'll work live. You can watch me have trouble if something goes wrong. But in real life things do go wrong, so it's nice to see. It's nice to see me struggle and how I get out of it, because maybe that'll help you too. So let's start. Let's start by just introducing me, and then we'll introduce the class, and then we'll get into the meat of it. So this is me, and in fact, this is not the same shirt as in that picture, but same style. If you find something that works, you stick with it. So what I do is, I've been a Mac owner from almost the very beginning. That's a year after they came out in 1985. I used to work as a rocket scientist. This is all old news for people who've been here before, so we won't waste a lot of time. Born in California, still live in California, sort of honorary Texan, and that's where I am right now. It's in Texas. And what I do is I write things about Macs and iPhones. I give talks about iPhones and Macs. I consult with people about iPhones and Macs. And the things that I really am focused on are teaching people things, automating things, and making the Mac and the iPhone work for the people that own them. Okay, and this is what I do. So it's all I do. It's my full-time job. And if you want to read some of the articles I've written about how to do things on your Mac and iPhone, you can go to christianboyce.com. All right. Now, let's introduce the class. How are we going to do this? Well, let's talk about how we're not going to do it. Okay, we're not going to go. It's not really A to Z. Okay, so in my experience, which is, we're talking 35 years or so of experience teaching people things, you really can't there's no beginning and ending for a program like this. Things are too complex. So what we're going to do, instead of starting at the beginning and ending at the end, we're going to do it more like this. We're going to start with some core basic notes stuff. And then we'll build on that with some intermediate notes stuff. And we'll build on that with some advanced notes stuff. And with all of that background, we'll move on and do what I call grad school notes stuff. Okay. So we're going to get a good foundation. We're just going to keep expanding our knowledge. And although the basic stuff might be a little bit basic for you, it'll be a nice refresher. And for other people, it'll catch them up. Then we can all take off with sort of a similar background. Okay, so let's talk about the basics. All right, so I'm going to now get my phone in gear here. So here's my phone. So you'll see this whole time we should keep the you'll see the slides on the left and the real iPhone in the middle. Okay, and I know the time there where it says 9:41 in the corner, that is always the way they do it in these presentations. It's automatically done by Zoom, and if anyone wants to know some trivia, I'll tell them. That's the time of day that Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone. Okay, so 9:41. Okay, so let's get started. How are we going to do this? Let's talk about making a note. Well, when you launch the Notes app, it's going to take you to wherever you were last. And somewhere on that screen, you're going to see a button like this. And that's our new note button. So I'm going to do that now. You can see on my screen here, I put notes in the dock down at the bottom. And when I touch this, oh, what do you know? So someone did some legwork ahead of time. So here's a note. This is a note. Now, you will see this icon at the bottom of the notes screen here. So I can make a new note just like that. And so here I am making a new note. Well, I'll just say done to that. And I'll go back here and we'll pick up our other note again. So you have the new note icon at the bottom there. You also, if you go back, if you look at the top where you see, let's see if I can point to some of these things, where it says all iCloud at the top left, I can touch that and I can come back and see various organization here. This is organized by date. And I go back some more and I've got different folders. But again, everywhere you go, you see at the bottom right, you see the new note button. So if I go back to iCloud here and I look here, I still see it. So everywhere you look, a new note button. Great. So that's easy. So when you make a new note, the first thing that happens when you start typing is it's going to be in big letters. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to make a list of to-dos. To do Wednesday. There. And when you hit return, they change the style. So this is going to be, I'll just say, this and that. Okay. So the style's changing automatically. It's nice. And the first stuff you type becomes the title of the note. So when you look for it in the list of notes, if I go back here, you see that the title is To Do Wednesday. Okay. So no big deal. That's the baby stuff. All right. And so here's an example of doing it. And there's the icons that we're talking about. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now let's put some text into a note. There's a couple ways you can do this. We need text. And it turns out that text is not at all the only thing that can go into a note, but we're going to start with the very basics, which is text in the note. So when you want to put text in the note, you either type it in or you dictate it in. You could also copy and paste it in. So you've seen me do this already, and so I'm going to tap up here, and I can type some more if I wanted. Hit a return, and I'll just say more stuff. Okay. So nothing special here. And if I choose to dictate, I'll just hit the microphone, rake the leaves, new line, change the air filters, new line. Now you notice up at the top there's a little done button. The done button keeps you from accidentally messing things up as you're moving around. So when you're editing, done is something you can touch so that you sort of lock it. You lock the message down. Okay, let's talk about putting notes into folders. So we have a lot. You're going to generate a lot of notes. Now, some people use notes. Well, they'll just have one note, and they'll type everything in it, and it'll get super long. That's okay. That's sort of like having, a filing cabinet without any folders in it. You just put everything in it. Well, we're gonna put things into folders. So the way you do it is you use this magic button up at the top. This is that More button, which is kind of all the rage nowadays in iOS apps. So when you touch that button up there, you drop a menu, okay, like this, and you can move the note. Maybe they could say file the note, but they say move the note. And so you see right there, that's what we're going to do. And when you do that, I'm going to do it right now. When I do this, not only can you file it into a folder that you already have, but you can also make a new folder. So I'll make a new folder now. I'll call this the NMUG folder, and I'll put this message in there, okay, or this note. So if I go back and I look at my folders, I now have an NMUG folder, and if I touch it, I see one note in it. Okay, let's talk about setting things up right. So there are settings for notes, and things are a little bit different in iOS 18 than they used to be. So I'm going to go to settings and get to the settings here. And what you don't see here is notes right out in the open like it used to be. Now what you have to do is go down to apps, and now you got to go find notes. Now I'm not going to scroll from A to N. I'm just going to type up here notes because I'm on the clock, right? So here's notes. So I'm going to touch this. And when you're in here in the settings for notes, the one thing that's the most important is to set your default account to be the iCloud account. So the notes are going to sync if you want them to. If you put them into your iCloud account, they will then sync with your Mac and your iPad, as long as you're putting the notes into the iCloud account. So you want to make sure that you've done that, not just here, but on your other devices too, so that the notes collection is shared. Now there are other places that you could put notes in. You probably have noticed this when you create. Let's say you've set up a Gmail account or even an AOL account and some other accounts. When you first set them up, they'll say, okay, you want mail, contacts, calendars, and sometimes notes. Well, you can do that if you want to, but they don't really work the same way that Apple's iCloud server does with notes. So stick with the iCloud notes like this, and you won't be sorry. But you can see here I have a couple other addresses that I could have put them in, including I could put them just on my phone, right? So there is the option to put a note just on your phone, which means it won't sync. So, maybe if you share an Apple ID with somebody and you don't want them to see a particular note, then just you'll save it onto your phone, but probably not for the default. Okay, so set it up like this and everything goes great. And that's what you want. Okay, well that was easy, huh? Okay, so now we're moving on. That was notes 101. Now we're gonna do 102. So intermediate notes. So we already know that we can come down here to notes, touch the notes app, touch the new note button, and there we are making writing a note. That was easy. But there are lots of other ways to make a note. And one way is to make a note via the quick note in the control center. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to go to the control center. When I pull down from the top right corner, you can see that we do not see a notes icon in there, a notes control. And you won't either unless you've set it up. So we're going to set it up ourselves. So we get into the control center, and now we see this plus up here at the top. I'm going to hit that plus at the top left corner. And when I do, I get, as you can see on the slides doing the same thing. When you do that, now it's like this. And now I'm going to add that button down there at the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll add a control. You see at the bottom, I can add a control. And there it is. I see it. I'm going to touch it. And now it's added, and now that I'm done, I will touch somewhere else. Okay, so now in my control center, I have a button that will make us a note. Okay, so now let's see how that works. What's cool about that is you can be doing something else, like let's say I'm looking at the weather, and now I decide I want to make a note. Without the control center method, you'd have to leave the weather app, go to the notes app. I have to find it, and then if you want to get back to the weather, you got to leave the notes and come back here. But what I can do in a hurry here is I can pull down from the top right. The weather is still going on behind. I can touch the quick note, and I can just type something in here. So looks like rain. Close the windows. Okay, so all right, so I can do that, and I'm still in the app I was in. So in terms of sort of workflow, it's nice not to be quite as interrupted by leaving the app you're in, finding notes, making the note, and then leaving notes, coming back to the app you were in if you still remember. So that's what the Control Center Quick Notes thing does for you. So I just demonstrated that. You can also tell Siri to make a note. So this is always one of the risky moves because if I say, whose name, it may make your phone do something, but I'm going to try. So what I'll do is I'll say, get ready. Hey Siri, make a new note.
To say.
Start the outline for the photos class.
Done.
All right, so I've made a note, and I can go look at that note, and there it is. Okay, it turns out I've actually started this already, and I guess I'll show you a little bonus here. How do you delete a note? Well, it's that more button again, which is funny because we don't want more, we want less. We want the note to go away. So I'm going to touch those three little dots at the top. And delete is there, so we'll get rid of that. So it turns out that with Siri, if you engage it in a conversation like I just did, where I say make a new note, and then she says, what do you want it to say? And I say what I want, that's fine. But you can also simply just keep talking. So I could say, make a new note, call Tom, and it would make a new note that said call Tom. Okay, so why don't I demonstrate that at great risk? I hope it works. Okay, it's Siri, man. Remember when we had our iOS class last week, or 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we said that Siri is going to get better one day. Well, it's not quite there yet. So here we go.
This
Hey,
isn't
Siri.
going to open your contacts, is it?
No, we'll do it. We'll make sure it doesn't. All right. We'll do something
Okay.
else.
All right. Thank you.
Hey Siri, make a new note. Call my mom. Okay, there you go. So they made a note for me. I just kept talking, right? I didn't have to engage. So that's an option for you. Okay, it's nice to have options. Okay, and so you see that's what we just did. You can add an image to a note. Now this is kind of fun. So what I'm going to do is there's a couple ways to pull this off. So I'm going to select a photo here. Let's see if I can do this here. And I'm going to momentarily hide the phone because I want to make sure that I pull up a picture that's suitable here. Not that it has to be rated G. That's not the point. But because I want it to be, I want it to make sure it's not got someone in it. So let's just see here. Just a sec. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna have a picture here. This is not a great picture, but it's a picture. Okay, so here's a picture of dinner a few weeks ago. All right, so I've got biscuits and chicken. So I can add a picture by touching. Here I'm in photos, right? This is just photos, nothing special here. I'm going to touch the share button down at the bottom left, and now I can make a note out of this. So I'm going to slide up here, and I will see eventually add to new quick note. So it's down there towards the bottom. I'm going to touch it now, and there it is. Okay, so I'll just say dinner, right? Now, why would I want to do this? I'm not sure, but anyway, I've done it, and now let's say what's cool about this is it's actually searchable. So in the slide, you'll see that I added a quick note, and it's a picture of my mom at the county museum, and you'll see that I can actually search for that. So why don't we do a search now? So I'm going to look for that picture. I made this note, but I didn't give it a good title, right? So if I'm trying to find my picture of the food, first I'll search for food, and hopefully when I hit search, you see they found that one down there that says dinner. They recognize that as food, so they might even be able to do it better than that. I'm gonna look for chicken. Now this might be a little tricky, so I'm gonna hit search again, and they did not find that as chicken, but they knew it was food. So the point is that it's really a trip that you can put a picture into a note and search for what's in the picture without telling it what's in the picture. They're going to look. It's astounding. All right, so let's look at some basic formatting here. I'll cancel that search. I'll make a new note. Okay, formatting. You can do some formatting with your notes. In fact, there's a whole bunch of buttons across the bottom of right across the top of the keyboard here that make it look like we ought to be able to do something. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select some text. Well, in the slide, I've selected some text. I'm going to make it bold. And there's more than one way to do it. I'm going to show you the fast way to do it. So the fast way is to highlight the text and tap that the little button with the A and the big A and the little A. And when you do that, it's gonna look like this. So let's put in text here. I'm gonna have this is gonna be sample text, and let's say I want to make the word sample bold. So I've double tapped it. I could grab the knobs underneath to highlight more, but I'll just do the word sample. So the hard way is to use that little pop-up thing at the top that says cut, copy, and paste, and try to go on and on and on until you get to format. Then I can touch format, and then I can make it bold. That's the hard way, okay? So I'm going to undo that. We do have an undo button up at the top, the little curvy arrow pointing left, so I'm going to undo that. Let's see if we can do this an easier way. So I've highlighted it, and we'll touch the double A thing down at the bottom, and right away there's bold. So I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to leave it at that. But there's a lot you can do. You can colorize it. Over here on the right, I've got a purple button. I'll touch that. I could make it purple. I could touch it again. I could make it orange. I could touch it again. I can make it blue. So there's a lot of formatting in there. When you look at those options across the bottom, I can make things italic, underline, strike through. I can indent. I can outdent. I can make numbered lists. So you can really go to town, and it's probably overkill for most of us. But the fact that you can do some of these things, you don't need to do all of them. You find the ones that work for you. And here I'm going to make a checkbox, and you can see just to the right of the double A, I've got this checkbox thing, and here it's making a list, so I can say, if I'm supposed to rake the leaves, which I am, rake them, not take them, rake leaves. Okay, I can check that off when I'm done, and I can change the filters when I'm done with that too. Okay, so these are check marks, so I can check them or uncheck them. Okay, so that's kind of fun, but I don't think that you're going to be writing very long documents in notes and trying to format them and make them beautiful. I think if you wanted to do that, you'd probably be talking with Mike about pages. Okay, so the fact that it's there is nice, but you don't have to use all of it. And when you're done, by the way, you get out of this by touching the little X to the right of format, and so that's how you get out of it. Okay, let's talk about searching for notes. So when you search for notes, if I go back and if I'm at this level, I can search. And when I search, I can search for not just the titles. So it's good to have a good title, but sometimes the titles aren't so good. I can search for titles, content, or if it's a photo like we've seen, we can look for the content of the photo. So that's a trip. So we're gonna do that here. Like this, in this example, you can see I took this picture, and there's the woman there. It's my mom standing in front of this giant rock. And if I search for LACMA, which is the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, it found it based on where that picture was taken. No, sorry, based on the name. Sorry, because I called it LACMA Visit. But I could also have searched for the word rock, and it would have found it. So this is searching for a note. And when you have lots and lots of notes, like if I look for NMUG, I have a lot of NMUG notes here, not just the top hits up here. So what you don't want to do, let me show you what you don't want to do. Let's do this again. I look for an NMUG, and what you see here, you see, oh, they found 2. But that's not really what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to finish typing and then hit search, and then you find all of them, okay? I don't need suggestions. I just show me the notes. So let's just do that again, because people do this wrong all the time. So I'm looking for NMUG, and I don't stop here. Okay, what I'm going to do is hit search down here, this blue button. Now I find them all, and I have all these NMUG notes. So I actually use it for this. Okay, now you can search within a note. So I'm going to open up the outline, some of the ideas I had for the class we had the other day, the iOS 18 class. So this was a lot of stuff, right? Long notes. And this is basically what I was doing was writing down everything I could think of as I thought of it and trying to add it to this note. And then I would work from this note and make the class. So in here, since it's pretty long, I don't want to have to scan for it, but I know that there's some ChatGPT references in here, so I'm gonna search for that. But you don't see any search button here. But once again, it's our old friend, the More button up at the top. So I'm gonna hit that, and there you see Find in Note. So I'm showing it there on the slide. Find in Note right there. And I'm doing it now, and when I touch it, now I can search for things, and you see down at the bottom, they put they put what am I looking for. So I'm going to put in chat. I'll stop with chat. That's probably enough. And you can see that they found five times I said chat. And you can use the arrows at the far right to just step through them. So I had 4 times I said chat GPT up there. And if I do one more, it's way down here. And so I can see that I just wanted to talk about chat GPT integration. So that's how you do that kind of search. So it's really nice to be able to find stuff quickly in a long note. So what I do with notes for things like classes is I dictate a lot of things into them while I'm driving around, and something will pop into my head, and I'll get that note up, and I'll just dictate stuff, and it's not usually very well organized, so I do have to search. Okay, so here I'm just refreshing your memory. I'm just doing it again for you. Let's talk about locking a note. Let's say you make a note that maybe you make a note with information like family social security numbers, maybe family, maybe you have some bank account numbers, some things that are important to you, but you don't want anyone to get into them, and you also don't want anyone to see them for privacy. You don't want anybody to mess it up. So how do we do that? Well, it turns out that you can lock a note, and the way you do it is, what do we always do? We hit that more button up there at the top right. When you do that, like I've just done now, you see at the top, you see a lock button. Okay, so this one's a little tricky because there's some setting up to do in advance. But if you do the lock, they then ask you to enter the password that you created for notes in your iCloud account. And you may be thinking, what password was that? It's not your Apple ID password. It's something else. So let's talk about that something else. How do we get there? Well, see, if I just type something in here, I put some password in here, just make something up. They say, no, that's not right. So what we have here with the notes is we have a single password that is the one that unlocks all notes. So you're not going to have a different password for a different note. So here's what you have to do. You have to go to settings, and in the notes settings, where we've been here before, you see there's a password section, and as it says, lock important notes using end-to-end encryption. That's good. And so here, I would say in this iCloud account, I would use a custom password, and I would change it right here. Okay. And I can even use Face ID to unlock a locked note too, but you've got to have a password, and you put that in there. Okay. So that's how you do it. That's how you set the password so that they know that you have put the right one in. Okay, so you're not setting it per note, you're setting it for the app. All right, how are we doing so far? Doing well?
You're doing well. Yeah.
Okay. And remember, if you've got questions, put them in the chat, and Sheeta will decide when it's time to cut in.
What I'm trying to do here, because there's so much that I want you to get through, I'm holding questions until you're done.
Beautiful, good. We have time for
Okay.
questions at the end. We've set it aside, and let's see. It's according to me, it is it's 12:04 your time. Is that right?
That is correct.
I've got until 12:45.
If you can give us 10 minutes for questions, because we do have a lot. So if you could go until the bottom of the hour, that would be great.
Okay, we're rolling. It's going to work.
And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where you are.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. All right. So now, locking a note is one thing. That was kind of cool to be able to lock a note and make sure that it can't be opened. But we also do this thing called pinning a note. Now, when you look at my notes here, we have a lot of notes. These are all my iCloud notes, and they go on and on and on and on, right? So maybe there's a note, like let's say I'm working on a class, which I am, about photos, which I am, and I want to keep this note at the top of the list. Well, I want to pin it is what I want to do. So pinning it we see this pinning idea in messages. We see it here too. So I'm going to hit the more button. I'm going to pin it. When I pin it, it means it stays at the top. So now if I go back and look at my list of notes, if I look at all iCloud you see pinned is my NMUG photos class is right there. If I change my mind on this, I can touch this and I can unpin it, right? Using, again, that more button at the top. So if there's anything you get out of this class today, it's that more button has a lot of stuff in it. All right, so I'm gonna leave it pinned because I got to get this class all figured out. So now I can get to the note in a hurry, and there you go. Okay, so that's intermediate stuff. We learned how to pin, and now let's do some more fancy stuff, advanced stuff. All right, and there are other apps out there that can do this kind of thing. You could use Evernote, for example. You could use there's probably 10 things you could use, but Apple's Notes is more than just the basics, as you can see, and it might be just perfect for you. So one of the keys, though, is to set it up just right. So let's look at the settings. So when you go to the settings, as I've done there in the slide, there are many settings, and the part that's important, as far as I'm concerned, is this stuff down here at the bottom in this viewing section. So one of the things that has messed me up over time is that the notes are sorted by default. They're sorted by the date that you edited them. But I have notes that, it seems to me, it makes more sense for me sometimes for the notes to be in the order that I created them. So let's say I want to write about a trip that I took. Let's say I took a trip in November last year, and I write a note about it. And now today I come back and edit that. Well, then it floats to the top, and I'm expecting it to be down a little ways, like behind the December trip and behind the January trip. So what I do is here where it says date edited, I've changed mine to date created. So you can do that too. And also down here to sort checked items. This means if you had a big checklist in Notes and you started checking them off, it would put the checked ones in one group, and it would move them. All right. So instead of seeing some things checked and some things not checked, it would see everything that wasn't checked in one group and everything that was checked in another group. I don't like things moving around, so I would say not to do that. I would want it to look like mine does, where it says manually. So instead of automatically moving things around to the bottom of the list when I check them off, I'd say no, leave them where they are, and I want to just be able to check them and uncheck them, not have them move around. Okay, let's talk now about one of the advanced features in this version of Notes, and that is audio recordings and transcripts. So I'm going to make a new note here. Here's the weird thing. You look at this. So let's suppose let's say I'm sitting in on a class and I want to record it, and I don't want to have to take notes. Well, if you look at the buttons there, you don't see anything that looks like a microphone. And you would think, aha, I know what we're going to do. We're going to go up to that more button and we're going to see something there. No, we're not. Okay, it's not there. So what are we going to do now? Well, it turns out it's the paper clip. Now, look, I'm a big fan, right? I like the Apple stuff, but when things are weird, I'm going to tell you that I think it's weird. So, I'm not blind. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid here. I think a paper clip's a wacky thing to do for audio recording, especially when there's a voice recording app already that does these things. But if you want to put it in Notes, the easiest way is to just get over it and touch the paper clip. So when I do, like that paper clip, I get a nice menu like that. And one of the things we get is record audio. Now you can see on my screen, it doesn't quite fit. I have to scroll down so I can see it properly. But there's record audio. So if we do that, which we're going to do, it will record, and you'll end up with something like this. So I'm going to hit record audio. So nothing's happened yet. It doesn't record as soon as you touch that. It's going to record when we hit the big red button down there. But I want to point out a couple other buttons that are important. This one is going to show you if you tap that, it's going to show you the words being transcribed as the recording is made, which is really cool. And when you're done, you need to know to tap the done button to tell them you're done. Okay, so let's record a little bit, and I'm gonna hit the big red button down there, and let's see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna do a nursery rhyme. Here we go. Whoops, I missed. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. All right, so that's just a recording, right? You don't see anything happening there. You didn't see the transcript being made on the fly because I didn't touch the little button on the bottom left. So let's do some more, and I'm gonna turn on that button. You see already it shows you. Looks pretty good, right? So but I can do this on the fly. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna resume recording, and I'm gonna have this on, and you're gonna see it putting in the words as we go. Gee, it's great to be here at NMUG doing a class, period. There's nothing I like better, period. So I didn't have to say period because they know. But they didn't quite get NMUG right, but almost. But I can edit at this. NMUG. Whoops, I could edit these things too. So when you're done, let's say you're done, and they show you the recording. You also see that there's a summary made up there where it says new recording. That's great, but in the preview they tell you that it's saying we have fond memories of Mary and her lamb. So not the best preview ever. But if I touch this now I get to do some editing. I can also name it. So if you want to name this thing, your chance now is to hit the more button, and I can rename it right here. So I think I've got, that button. There's the rename. Other things you can do is you can add the transcript to the note. Instead of just having the recording in the note, I can just squirt it in. So I'm going to do that now. And so now there it is, right? Instead of being in the recording and sort of locked in there, now I have it in the note. So lots of good things in that more button and lots of good things in that paper clip, all right? Just remember the paper clip. I think it used to be a camera because that was how you took a picture and got it in. But now you do it, you do more than camera, so they decided paper clip's the perfect thing. Okay, now, of course, speaking of paper clips, let's say you do want to put a picture in. What do? We use the paper clip, all right? So now we're going to do that. We're doing that right now. So I have here a little tin of mints, and I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to put it into my note because maybe I want to remind myself that these are the kind I like. So here's the phone. Here's the mints, and I'm going to touch the magic paper clip. I shall show you on the slide. I'm going to touch that, and you'll see that there's take photo or video. So that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. I've got the mints, and when you touch the paper clip and you say take photo or video, you get this kind of screen. And I'm going to I'll show you that like that, right? I've done this before, and this is going to be searchable also. So I'm going to take this picture. It's not going to be good, but I'm going to take this picture. And I'm going to use the photo. You see at the bottom right, I can say use photo. So I'm going to use the photo. So now I have a photo of a tin of mints. Just like in your handout, use photo. And there it is. There it sits. Now without me doing anything more, this is searchable. So I'm going to go back here and do a search. So suppose I search for mint. Okay? They found it. You see, they found my note that I did not title it mints, but it turned out it had the word mints in it. So they found it. They found it by reading it. It's a miracle. So really cool to be able to do this. It's not so different than what would happen in the Photos app where you could search for something too. But when you've got your notes, there's going to be a collection of images and words, and now you have this. You can feel confident that you'll be able to find things, whether it's in an image or in a or in text. Okay, so that's done. Now let's look at something else kind of cool. Now we're getting to be pros. normally what we do is we touch the notes icon, we tap it, as you'll see me do in the bottom right corner. I tap it, and up comes the note. Wherever I was, that's where they take me. I can make a new note, and away I go. So that's a two-step there for me to make a new note. But if you touch it and you hold it, maybe not forever. You don't hold it until it starts wiggling. You hold it until you feel it kind of kick. And when you do, you get a little menu. Okay, so that little menu that I just got there, let's see if I can show you. There's a picture there. That menu, that's what I've got on my iPhone too. This gives me a chance to make a new note right there. So it's a little quicker. Also a place to make a new checklist. So if I wanted to make something that I could check off things, I could make the new checklist just straight away. Or I could record audio, and that way I could skip the paperclip. But what would I complain about then? So, but it's kind of neat that you can press and hold and pop this up. So that's cool. But my favorite is to make a widget. Now, we've done widgets before. You can see on my screen, I have widgets galore, right? I've got a calendar, I've got a to-do list, I've got the weather, I've got some photos. And what I want to do here is I want to make a widget with a note. So there's two things you can do. You can make a widget with a favorite note, or you make a widget with a favorite folder. So that a group of notes becomes quickly accessible. So let's do that now. So just as a reminder, what we do is we put our finger anywhere that there's nothing. We hold it until the screen kind of wiggles, and I'm going to then hit edit up at the top. And now I'm going to add a widget. All right, so adding a widget. So now I could scroll through here and try to find notes, but I'm going to search up here. I'll just put in notes like this. And now I see notes. I touch notes, and we see the things that could be in a widget. So I could have a folder. Okay, we have folders like this. Little widget for a folder. A medium-sized widget for a folder. A bigger one, which actually shows a lot of notes. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Good, I didn't do it. Sorry, I just sort of slipped. Let's go. This is why we do it live, so you can see me make mistakes. Let's make it say notes and not nights, and then it'll be even better. Here goes notes. All right, so those are folders, but how about notes? So what I'm going to do here, see, I could go quick to any of these notes, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to add the widget. Now, when you add a widget, you probably see, so I'll just run through the steps here. Add widget. Okay, when you add it, you have to hit the button at the bottom that says add widget. You can't touch the thing that you're trying to add. You touch where it says add widget. So I do this, and there it is. Now, that's not a note I wanted. That note is about how big the hole is in my dashboard, because I'm going to put a cup holder in there instead of the ashtray. Because I don't need that one. What I need is to switch notes. So I'm going to show you how we do that now. But if we were to stop, if we stop the wiggling here, this is what I'm stuck with, is this particular note. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch it and hold it, and now I can edit the widget, and I'm going to pick a different note. Okay, so I'm going to touch this. They give me a big list here, and I'm going to look for iOS. No, I'm going to look for NMUG, because I want to do that NMUG photos class. So I'm gonna say make that note be available very quickly and easily. So now that I've chosen it, now I can pop into that note in a hurry. Instead of searching for it in the regular Notes app, I just touch it, and there I am. I'm in the photos class. So that's pretty nice. And of course, when you make a widget, it always puts it in the top left of your screen. So it's messed me up, but I'm going to unmess by grabbing this widget and putting it up there where I like it. And now I'm done. All right, so that's really a handy thing. So I think it took us a long time to get here, but the photos, the widget with a note in it is really great, whether it's a folder full of notes or just one favorite note. All right, so we've done it, and now we're there. Now we're going to grad school. Okay, so some very fancy stuff here. Extra credit. You can add a link in a note. You can link to a web page, and you can link to another note. So if you really get into notes, if you're one of those people who says, I'm going to use notes for everything, then you may want to sort of cross-link different notes. And it's easy to do, but we're going to start by making a link to a web page, okay? So I'm going to go to a web page here. Let's go to Safari, and all right, so I'm going to basically do what I'm doing up above there. I'm going to go to Mac Rumors. And let's say we find ourselves an article that we want to be able to make a note out of, okay? This looks like a good one. So I'm going to touch this article. Now, what we do to try to make it look like what you see in the handout, we use a share button. Now, the share button and the more button are kind of the grab bags of buttons. And technically, they could actually probably be the same button, but it would be too crowded to put everything in one. So we're going to use a share button here because that's what we're offered. So I'm going to touch the share button. And when we do, we get some options. And the one I'm going to scroll up to here is the one that says Add to Quick Note. Okay, so here we go, Add to Quick Note. And what it does is it makes a note with that in it. All right, so just like I've done there. So we're on the same page here. So, and I'll say, that's interesting or something. Maybe I should read this later. Okay, now that's adding a link to a web page when you're already on the web page. But let's say I want to add a link to a web page where I just know the address. I want to type it in. So let's say I want to have a link to go to the NMUG web page, and the web page isn't NMUG, right? It's Naples. It's Naples. Naples Mug. I hope I remember. All right. So if you highlight it like this, then you can hit the arrows on the top above where it says Cut, Copy, Paste. You can go over and keep going until you get to Add Link. So when I do Add Link, now I can put in a URL. And I'm going to do it now. Correct me if I do this wrong. Naples mug dot sheet of com or com. Okay, I thought so. Thank you. I do it. I need to know. Okay. So now that I've done that, so I've done that myself by hand. And when I save this, if I go look at that note again, let's go find our note. And so I have two links here. This is the page. The big thing at the top is what I added when I was on the page to begin with. I touch it, it takes me there. Okay, that's easy. Let's go back. But this NMUG one also works. I touch that, it takes me to Naples Mug. Okay, so that's putting in a link to a web page. Easy enough. And I'm just showing you here, add link. Takes a few steps. It's a lot easier if you're already there and you just use the share sheet. Okay, so I guess I could have read my own notes. All right, so you can also make a link to another note, and this is really interesting. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make a note here. I'm going to tell myself, look into iOS 18 features. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to connect to one of my other notes. So you already saw that we had a big note for the iOS 18 class that we had. Well, I'm going to do it again. So here we're going to make it a link to another note. And what's interesting about this is when you add the link, let me show you here in slow motion here. When you add the link, you notice it actually says enter a URL or a note title. Okay, so that's the key. Okay, that it could be a URL or it could be the note title. So I'm going to assume that my note title started with NMUG, and you see all the different notes I could link to. I think it's iOS 18. There it is. So I see my NMUG iOS 18 and iPhone class from 1/5/25. So just like this, right? Same deal. So I'm going to touch this, and I'm going to just say done to this. And when I've done this, and if I say done again, now I have a link from this note to that note. So if I touch this where it says iOS 18, okay, you'll see it's going to jump right over there, and there it is. So you could set up a rather elaborate system for jumping back and forth between notes. This is a little bit easier if you're just starting out using notes, because you can make it's hard to sort of impose a system on the sort of scattered notes that you've had for all these years getting up to iOS 18. But if you hadn't been using notes a lot, this would be really great, because you could really get organized, folders and links between notes. So I think that could be very powerful. Okay, so now another new feature in this version of Notes is Math Notes. So in a way, this is a little bit of a party trick, but it shows a lot of promise. And if you learn how to do it here, you'll know how to do it on your iPad, where it's going to work much better. So I'm going to do it now. So what you do is you start by using the markup tools down at the bottom. So I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to grab a pen down here. I'm going to write with, just to be different, I'll pick a color. Let's pick red. And now I'm going to use that pen, and I'm going to write 2 + 2. Okay. Now it just sits there, right? It just sits there. And that was, with my finger. Now it sits there until you put an equals sign in it. So here I go. I'm going to just write the equals, doink, doink. And they figured out that that's an equation now, and I can tap where it says solve. And not only do they solve it, but they write 4 in like my handwriting, which is just wild. So now that's the basic way to do it. You can do more than that. And what you can do here is I'll go up to the more button, and you see here, like I've done in the slide, you see the section that says math results, suggest results. Well, that means like that it doesn't automatically give you the 4. You had to tap the button and do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, no. Let's make it insert the results automatically. So now if I do that, let's just do another one here. I'll do 1. See if I can do this here. Get my drawing tool. Okay, so I'll use this. That's great. And we're going to do 1 + 1 =. And they put the 2 in right away. I didn't put the 2 in, right? So Math Notes. Now, you can do a lot more with Math Notes, but we're not going to, because it works better on the iPad. And I still think if you're going to try to do math, you get a perfectly good calculator on your iPhone that's better than this. Okay, but it's still impress your friends. Okay, last but not least, the image wand. So let's make a new note here, and I'm going to make a little picture. So when you use the image wand, you're still going to draw with the markup tool. So here I've drawn a house, and then this is the magic wand, the image wand, and you circle the thing that you just drew. Okay, so let's just do it here. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make another little house if I can. Here's a house. There's a house. Here's a door, and here's a chimney. Okay, all right. So I don't like my smoke. I'm gonna take that out. So I'm gonna use the image wand, and you'll notice when I circle it, it's gonna make this sort of magic swirly pretty thing. This is impossible for me to make a screenshot of because it disappears. So they asked me now to describe this thing. I'm going to say it's a house, all right? And when I tap the up arrow next to it right there, they're going to try to refine my picture and make me a house. Now, what I would rather they had done is just straighten my lines out, but that's not an option. You can see many different houses as I scroll through here. I can tell it more. If I want to make it a log cabin, I can. All right, so I'm going to do that. Cabin, hit the arrow again. Okay, so we're doing well there. And now I've got a log cabin, and I could do more. One thing that's a little bit surprising is, and here I'm sort of flipping through the same sort of path that I took before. You might eventually you want to be done. You see down at the bottom, the done button is gray. Uh-oh. And you've got this plus over here, which seems like you wanted to add something to it, but it turns out that plus, this plus right here, that's to change style. So I can make it animation style. Okay, that's like that. I can make it illustration style. And I can make it back to sketch style. So, in other words, really pretty much a total waste of time. I don't know that you're going to be doing this, but eventually you got to finish. You got to get out of here. And the way you finish is you've got to find done, and you don't see it. But if I scroll it down just a little bit, there's the done button. Why was it hidden? Don't ask me. Okay, but this is another one of Uncle Christian here telling you like it is. I don't like this, but when I hit done, there it is. Okay, so that you also had a cancel button. So now I've got a log cabin in here, but remember I didn't call it a log cabin. If I go back and do a search, if I look for a house, I think I'll find this picture. And let's just see here, house search, and I didn't find it. Well, that's not so good. Bad example. But okay, that's the image wand. Love it or leave it. You actually don't even need to start by drawing. You could just use the image wand. Get to the markup tools. Get the wand. Just draw a picture, and then you can just type in what you want. So you can say I want a dog, or a dog. Let's make a dog. Do. And they would do it. You don't have to draw a dog first. They know how to do this. So I'm not sure what the benefit is of sketching something and then circling it. All right. So we're done with that. Okay, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is also way better on the iPad because there's only so much you can do. The screen's so small. So there you go. And now let's wrap it up. Our further study. Okay, I don't know everything, but I know a lot more than I did before this class because I had to learn a bunch of stuff. And one of the places I learned it was from this great video tutorial by our own Dan Wasink. Okay, so that's a link. You can try that. Another place another thing I did is, let's see, there's another, getting started with notes on the iPhone. This is by Apple. And if you find the Tips app on your phone, it's got the same content. So you don't have to go to that link, you go to the Tips app. And this is another great guide to Apple's Notes. Really long, lots of detail, and also a great name for the blog, the Nerdy Momo Cat blog. So check those things out for further study. And now it's questions and answers. You got the questions, I got the answers.
All right. We do. All right. So the first thing I want to say, Uncle Christian, is in defense of the paperclip. Paperclips mean attachments, and the recording is attachment because you can actually delete that recording without deleting the note. So
I agree. I know. I get it.
I know. I know you're not happy with it. You throw it in there. All right. So we're going to have questions from Chris Frank, Barry Gibbons, Jennifer Schroeder, and then Rick Kitchen. So, Chris Frank, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, well, since I wrote that, I discovered that my question really relates to an earlier operating system, which was 16.71. But I have a choice between scan documents or scan text, and I wondered what the difference was, if you know.
Well, I'm not sure. I think. Well, I'm not sure. They're able to pick up the text in a document, so I guess we'll just have to experiment with that one.
Okay. You have homework, Chris Frank. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. All
I'm
right.
glad it's
Barry, Jennifer, and then Rick. Go ahead.
Barry here. I have an iMac, an iPhone, and an iPad, all the same Apple account. I'd really like to have notes on just two of those things and exclude the phone. And I don't think I can do that, can I?
Well, you can. What you do is you turn it off on the phone. So you look in the settings here.
No,
Nice.
not the notes, a single note.
Oh, you want to exclude a note from the phone and have the other ones share it. Okay, no, then that's tricky. I could exclude them all, but I can't exclude. I don't think I can exclude one.
The only way you can do that is to turn off syncing, and then you don't want to do that. Really?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
that's what I was
All
going
right.
to do. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Right when I
All right, thank you.
thought I had an answer. That's nice going. Okay, so we're 0 for
All right,
2.
Jen. All right, Jennifer, you're next. Jennifer's question, and this came about, but I think may have been answered. All right, go ahead, Jennifer. She's here.
Sorry, I couldn't get the mute button to come on. I'm wondering what the difference between the quick notes is and a regular note. Is there just the fact that you made it quickly? And I don't get the whole distinction. Why does the app make such a big distinction? I just want to note. I don't care whether it's a quick note.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because it's still they're even sorted in a group like this, right? They're sorted in their own section. I don't get it either. So sorry about that. I don't understand.
Okay.
Because you could file one of these quick notes in some other folder, right? It doesn't have to live in quick notes anymore. I could put it in NMUG. And now it doesn't see it as a quick note anymore, right? It's a regular note. Doesn't make sense to me. Now, I'll tell you what. See, on the Mac and on the iPad, there's a quick notes feature where you can pop up a note from the corner of the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You can make a note in a hurry that way, and maybe they're trying to help you find the ones that you made in a hurry that way. On the iPhone, it's new to the iPhone, this quick note thing. So it doesn't really quite work the same. So let's just ignore it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that explains. Thank you.
There'll be no more questions and answers unless you know I can answer them.
Okay.
Otherwise,
quick is the operative question or comment or word there. All right, Rick Kitchen, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
First of all, this was a wonderful thing. I've just really been using notes for the past few months a lot more. My questions have actually been answered. So thank you very much.
All right. Rick's question was, for those of you who didn't see it, do you have to have Apple AI to search for photos in the app?
I don't think so.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay.
Because I've done that.
Okay.
I'm gonna count this
All
as
right.
a win. Okay, that's
All right.
one.
Right.
That's one in the winning column.
Okay. Now, next we have James Cutler and Jane Wood. Jim, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? And Jim's question was, Jim, are you still here? When you were sorting was the sort by checked per note or for all notes?
Oh, that was for sorting all notes. Yeah, when we were looking at the settings, I believe is the question about here, where it says sort notes by. Right, so we have this is sorting the notes, and then the other thing was sorting the checked items. This was in general for all notes that I don't want to have them shifting things around because I checked them. I want them to leave them where they are, but show that they're checked. So I used manually there, but that's for the app itself, not for any particular note.
Just trying. We did Jane Wood, can you quickly ask Christian your question?
Sure. We're having a fire alarm, so I'm sorry about the racket in the background. Christian, at the beginning of every one of your presentations, I'm always curious, where were you a rocket scientist?
Oh gosh, okay, good question. That one I can answer. I was a rocket scientist at the Aerospace Corporation in El Segundo, California, down by the Los Angeles airport.
Aha. Well, I think that's I wonder how you could leave that job. Was it hard to leave that job, or was it good
Oh no,
getting out on
they
your
made
own?
it easy. They laid me off. It was easy.
Oh, okay. Okay, we've all
It was a
been
long
there.
time ago. It was a
We've
long
all
time
been
ago,
there.
back when they were closing Air Force bases and things. It was a long time ago. Like maybe.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you are where you are now, and we get
Yeah, me
to
too.
see you. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Do we have any more questions for Christian related to the topic, what we've gone through? We got time for one more. All right. If not, Joan, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just quickly, Christian's wonderful presentation was transcribed. A little notice popped up to tell us that. Where do we get that transcription?
Eckert?
Yeah, that comes from Zoom doing it automatically.
Yeah, it comes from Zoom. Eckert, do we still make those available, or do we want to?
We can make them available, sure.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Well, we could put it on the class page. I mean, not the class page, the meeting page, where the download is for the notes. So I would say go to the class. I keep saying class. Go to the meeting page sometime later today or tomorrow, and the transcription could be there. All right. So with that, Christian, Uncle Christian, I want to thank you. You started it. I want to thank you for such a wonderful presentation. Everyone, can you please unmute your mics and thank Christian?
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you,
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. That was fun. I do love this app.
Wonderful.
You're the best.
Christian. It's 4:45 in the morning.
I wish I had your hair.
Thank you.
No comment.
Thank you. Transcript. Yeah.
All right. All right. We're going to hand it over to Eckert.
Okay, guys. Christian, I didn't think that you could excel yourself, but you're capable of doing that. So this was an absolutely fabulous presentation, and she said it was almost more a class than a presentation. It was just absolutely great, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you very, very much. Great. And also like to really thank our audience. They are so, not only are they very loyal, they are so active, interactive, and with our great moderator, Sheila, I don't know how we could have a better setup. So it's just wonderful. And with that, Mike, are you ready for your announcements?
I am indeed. Thank you very much, Eckhart. Let me just share my screen. Folks, as ever, I have prepared a thread on our message board for this excellent meeting. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you could kindly dig out that particular thread on the message board and use that for today's meeting, that would be fantastic. I'm running this Saturday's class, and it's all about pages, and I do hope that you'll join me. I think it should be good fun. I think there's plenty to learn, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And Anne Mackay is with us. Is it Anne Mackay or Mackay? It would be Mackay if it was English, and I'm not sure how the Americans pronounce that. So Anne, if I've got it wrong, I'm sorry. But Anne is talking about UpNote, an app I do not know anything about, but look forward very much to learning more about next Wednesday. And with that, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Have a fabulous day, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm ending the meeting now. Bye-bye.